We're gonna start off with Abby.
So a lot of what the position entails is just organizing eBoard's life, basically. So do you have any strategies for organizing just board events, um, forums, slides, etc.?
Yeah, sure. For me, I really love planning, but loosely planning, just in case things don't go the exact way that I need them to. You know what I mean? Um, I think it's so important to have itineraries and release calendars in a timely fashion, just so obviously our members' first priority is always going to be school. So if we release these calendars and as like soon as possible, then the members will be able to see what they can and can't go to. And with itineraries, I would want one for eBoard and one for membership to see, just so they can like get a feel for what's going on the day and what's going on with the event. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What are your strategies for organizing things for both board and the org as well?
So I do have previous experience with this. As I said in my speech, that I was vice president of admin for Circle K, and basically we had to build the org from the ground up because we had to recharter it, had to get it recognized on the CNH district level and also the international level. So during the summer before school started, me and my eBoard, we collaborated a lot over like group chat, FaceTime, and then in person once we all met together. And we collaborated on when were the best times to meet for little things like such as even just socializing to get to know each other better, and then creating timelines of how our org was gonna build. So I don't know where it was going. So basically, I already have previous experience with collaborating with people I like, just meet because we had just started getting to know each other. Making sure that we were on each other's schedules, like making it the most convenient for both my eBoard and our growing membership to meet. I lost my train of thought.
Hannah?
This past semester, I worked hand in hand with the DCL and reps on one of the most critical aspects of Friendship Games, which was maintaining the involvement roster. Without the organization that we had, the system would not have been able to succeed. However, maintaining a roster like that is extremely time consuming and can sometimes be extremely tedious. How do you plan on improving this system, and who do you plan on outreaching for help when need be?
Sorry, can you say the question?
Yeah, so essentially DCL worked with the reps to maintain the rosters for Friendship Games. At times, or maintaining a roster like that can be really time consuming and sometimes really tedious. So how do you plan on improving this system, and who do you plan on outreaching for help when need be?
As someone who did work on maintaining the attendance roster for FG, I don't know where I'd necessarily improve it, but I know that it worked really well. For me, doing it was tedious, but it was something that I was able to do because it was important and it got the job done on being able to maintain like who actually gets to go and who's been putting in the time and effort. I think next year I would do the same and reach out to reps and also just make sure that like who they're seeing at meetings, at like the practices are the people that are actually signing in. Because I know sometimes people can like get the sign in from their friends being like, hey, can you sign me in? I can't make it, but I want to go. And I think it's just that accountability with reps, with being honest, and with membership being honest on whether they're there or not.
I guess the biggest thing is definitely collaborating and leaning on others to when you feel like your plate is being like filled too high. I definitely know, I'm pretty sure all of us have felt that like when we're in a group project, all of the work is being piled onto us for whatever reason. And it's the main thing that I would do. I'm not quite sure how the process went in terms of maintaining and keeping order of the roster, but I do know that it does depend on leaning on others, especially the reps and activities director and all that to make sure that like everyone's accounted for, especially those who put in the time and effort the most during friendship days, especially like the players, like people who are like mainly doing stuff, roll call, things like that.
I'm going to bring it back to Abby for a question. Sorry, Marielle.
Hi. Okay, so given the priorities that you have as a student, UCL is a position that requires a lot of time and effort, and your majors too. So how would you see yourself executing the responsibilities of this position and finding that balance and preventing burnout for you?
Well, I've definitely tried to keep like a lifestyle where I like have a healthy balance of class and other activities such as like work and extracurriculars. Last semester was definitely the busiest for me in terms of trying to balance it because I was, BPA for Circle K, and trying to build it from the ground up just took a lot of time. But like I said in my previous answers, that like I was able to like get through all of it because I was able to bond with the other leaders or other e-board. For me, it's just really being able to like schedule how my day is gonna go and what needs to get done, like to prioritize what needs to get done first.
First off, I want to say thank you for that question because it's definitely a question I asked myself after I was nominated. I'm going to say I'm a nursing major. I'm going into junior year. It's like notorious for being the harder year. For me, I think it's just a matter of balancing myself, but also knowing when to take the time to take a step back and to breathe. For me, I've talked with so many nursing majors about if I'm capable of doing this, and they told me, well, specifically Atha Justine told me one personally, and she said it again in her senior speech, was just because you're a nursing major doesn't mean it needs to define what you do outside of nursing. And I'm passionate about nursing and medicine. That's why I went into it. But I'm passionate about this org too. And because I'm passionate, I'm gonna make the time and I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah.
I motion for 5 more minutes.
Second.
Thanks. Nate.
Great job on your guys' speeches. So as DCL, y'all will be working hand in hand with the majority of the board. So my question, I know you guys touched on it a little bit already, but I just want to reiterate, what does collaboration and communication mean to you guys within the board, but also to the membership?
For me, collaboration and communication is just being open to hearing what the other person has to say, to get past barriers of personal bias, because like for eBoard, for example, you have to be able to do this on a professional level. No matter what you're doing, how you feel outside, like things have to get done. And for collaboration, it's just about remembering that you're doing this for membership. It's never going to be about the title. You have to get this done in order to maintain membership's experience and just their attention in general.
So the question was, what does collaboration, communication mean?
Yeah, it looked like to you.
Like I said in my speech, that I'm very like a person who like strives to like say what I think and like try to really be open and honest about my thoughts and how I feel. And communication isn't just that, it's also active listening on both parties. And I know that I struggle with that, and that's something I need to do better, but I feel like this position would really push me to be a better communicator, a better active listener. And that also plays into being like collaborative in terms of, like Emily said, like being open about other people's ideas, even if they hinder yours or they go against yours. It's just really about allowing yourself to drop the wall of, you know, this is what I believe. I can only think this, and just allowing like a productive like flow of communication to appear.
Does anyone else? So I think we have time for one more question. So we're gonna, the last question is gonna go to James.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So DCL handles a lot of calendars, they handle a lot of itineraries. Can you name an instance or a plan of how you would deal with some unforeseen circumstance? For example, last semester we had the fires, and that took us out for a whole week, and like that took out PCN Symposium. How would you go about, or how have you in the past gone about getting past those kinds of setbacks?
I think for me, like for example, the fires, it was a safety hazard, and so we have to prioritize the membership on that part. It's just a matter of communicating with eBoard on whose event it was, and being transparent with the rest of membership, saying, hey, like we can't do this, so we have to move it, and just being clear with just because the event isn't happening right now, it's going to happen in the future, and being clear with where it's going to be, when it is, what time, and all of that.
I guess on a more personal note, I guess the most like unforeseen event that ever happened to me was when my grandpa died, and that was the summer before coming in here as a freshman at USF. And I was originally supposed to intern at the Port of Long Beach, which is it's a pretty big like organization, and I was really excited to like have it help build my resume, to follow in the footsteps of like some of my teachers, some of my like peers at my high school, and then that happened, and then just everything fell. But I realized that I had to be a sort of pillar of strength for my family, especially my mom and my grandma. So it's really just prioritizing not just like my feelings, but the people surrounding me, and allowing them a space where they can express how they feel and like what's going on with them, and sort of shaping how the rest of their path will go in terms of like a situation like